Hello out there, we're on the air. It's a great day for hockey in West Michigan. I'm Matt Gajtka. Thank you for watching today's presentation as it's opening weekend for many teams across the state, and for these two teams in particular, coming off a disappointing year, so hoping to rev it back up in 2025-26 and return to past greatness. We've got Forest Hills Northern and Eastern, the Bird Dogs, coming off of an opening loss last night to Forest Hills Central, but a competitive defeat. 3-1 was your final score there. The Bird Dogs might be missing a couple of key players today, but for head coach Tom Bissett, they've got it lined up trying to level their record and make it an even split in the opening weekend of the season. The other team today here from Patterson Ice Center is the visiting Grand Haven Buccaneers. For first-year head coach Dustin Langlois, trying to make an opening statement, as we do get it started a little bit earlier this year than what we're used to. Second weekend of November, and already getting it revved up. Again, here at Patterson on the East Rink, big thanks to Brad Verker and the Forest Hills Northern and Eastern Bird Dogs program for helping to make this broadcast possible. We're going to bring you select games throughout the season of your Bird Dogs, as today's game is an okay conference game, but a non-division game, as the Buccaneers are out of the Fisher division. That's more of like the lakefront division, if you will, the Lakeshore division. And the Bird Dogs in the BOM, which is more of the Grand Rapids metro area. The Bird Dogs will be in their home white uniforms with the black trim, black stripes, white helmets, black names and numerals on the back. Grand Haven, which is a co-op program as well, they're in the dark blue and the gold with the white trim. Dark blue helmets and dark blue pants. Grand Haven also includes players from both Spring Lake High School and Western Michigan Christian, and of course, Forest Hills Northern and Eastern. Well, it's right there in the name. From both FHN and FHE, they draw players, and it's a pretty even split this year, in fact. Last night, I mentioned it, the Bird Dogs opened up against their Forest Hills area rival, the Forest Hills Central Rangers, and the Rangers skated out with a 3-1 win here at Patterson, and Nolan Gino scored the lone goal for FHNE, and we've got the starting lineups in just a moment, so I'll step aside for the PA announcer to bring you those. Getting set for face-off, 17 minutes loaded on the big scoreboard down to our right. And Grand Haven being introduced. We've got Ryan Bates, the senior D, on the blue line, along with Mark Braden, the junior, number 10. Number 11, the junior Kyler Studer. Also at forward, Noah Noonan, co-captain, number 15. He's up front, and Dane Bedford, the sophomore defenseman, gets the call to begin the game. Johnny Grybar, the returning goalie, who had a .903 save percentage and a 3-9-1 record last season for the Buccaneers. He'll get the start. As for the Bird Dogs, here they come. Nolan Gino, last night's goal scorer. He'll be lining up alongside Liam Tilley, who's on the blue line. Tilley, a returning player, 15 assists last season to lead all Forest Hills Northern and Eastern defensemen. Will Slater, also on the back line. And Tyler Baum, an alternate captain. And Charles Vance round out the skaters. Your starting goalie is the freshman Wes Smith, getting his second start in as many days, less than 24 hours, thrown right into the fire at the varsity level as a ninth grader. Time for the national anthem. Keep it right here on YouTube, as we've got game action coming up in just a moment. A lovely rendition of the Star Spangled Banner here at Patterson. Again, I'm Matt Gajtka. Thank you for joining the presentation of Forest Hills Northern and Eastern Bird Dogs hockey. Last year, the Bird Dogs, for now 15th year head coach Tom Bissett, went 8-14-3, fell in the regional playoff opener to Traverse City West. Guess what? The Buccaneers last year had the exact same record, 8-14-3, and they also lost in the opening round of the postseason. Every team in Michigan high school hockey makes the playoffs. Everyone's got a shot. So you can use this opening portion of the season, say before the holiday, to figure out what you've got, what you might need to improve, play a lot of guys on the bench, see where your depth is at. As the Bird Dogs will attack the goal down to our left in the first period, Grand Haven vice versa. Thank you for joining us. High school hockey season has begun in Michigan, and very happy to have you along. Off the draw, the tie-up, and stepping forward trying to fire it in is the defenseman Ryan Bates. Big body for Grand Haven. Meanwhile, Forest Hills goes after it in the neutral zone, but can't get past the red line. Vance couldn't make a move. Forest Hills missing a couple of players. We'll get those to you in a moment as here comes Nolan Gino, last night's goal scorer, centered it out in front, but it was deflected away and picked up on the move by Noah Noonan. The co-captain for Grand Haven chips it down the ice, untouched. That's an icing call, 32 seconds into the opening frame. All right, missing players for the Bird Dogs this afternoon. Justin Halverson suffered an injury last night. Last year's leading scorer, 33 points Halverson had as a junior, including a team best 23 assists to go with his 10 goals, but he's out today. Also missing Michael Dodge, the returning sophomore, as the puck bounces in behind the Grand Haven goal. Johnny Grybar looks at it with a wary eye as the Buccaneers clear. And Ryan Warden, captain of the Bird Dogs, is missing this game due to injury too. So we'll see what Forest Hills can do to rally and try to get the victory. Stuffed in front of the net. Good chance from Carter Wells at the side of the goal, and a penalty coming up. It looks like against Forest Hills Northern and Eastern. The goaltender Grybar is off the ice for Grand Haven. Extra attacker out there. Swerving to the bottom of the circle and trying to find a shooting lane was Carter Wells. Turned it over, touched by Easton Ryers of Forest Hills, and tripping is the call. Just a minute and 13 seconds into game number 2 for the Bird Dogs. They'll be shorthanded very early on. Easton Ryers, the Forest Hills Eastern student, junior defenseman, is off for the next 2 minutes, or at least the Bird Dogs hope it's 2 minutes, because that'll mean they killed it off successfully. First power play of the season for Grand Haven. Let's see what they've got. Well, they won't be able to get a hold on it early on the PP as it's cleared the length by the Bird Dogs. Ryan Bates sets up shop behind his goal, taking the handoff from the netminder Grybar. Grybar, the primary goalie for Grand Haven last year. In over the line, but offside are the Buccaneers. Noah Noonan led the charge, but one of his teammates was a step ahead at the blue. 15:23 to go in the first period. 1:37 remaining on the power play for the Bucks. Both teams graduated quite a bit of offensive production from last year. Get you those names in a little bit as Tyler Sparks works in for a sharp angle shot. Save made, rebound in front of the goal, rattles around, and it's in the net. It's banged to the goal by Grand Haven, and they've got a power play goal. Wes Smith made the first 2 saves, but the third one was popped into the net. And the first man through the handshake line appears to be that is Carson Poulin. Or no, it's number 10, Mark Braden. Braden finished it off in front of the goal. Several Buccaneers had looks at it. Couldn't quite tell who got the last touch, but with 15:13 to go in the first period, it's a successful power play for the Bucks. And Mark Braden scores their opening goal of the season. Center ice draw. And Forest Hills, which allowed a power play goal last night, allows one here this afternoon. Gino trying to center it, rubbed out by Bates. Loose puck, and Ben Grybar picks it up for Grand Haven, lifted it off the wood and back out to neutral ice. Gino surrounds it, and Nolan Gino softly sends it into the near corner. It rattles around for Dane Bedford to control for Grand Haven. Goes over to his defense partner, or tried to. Pass got away from Bates. Bates runs right over a Bird Dog on the near side. That's Gino, and he's down and hurt. Stunned by that hit. Gino, he's going to slowly make his way back over to the home bench as the Buccaneers have possession of the puck. Bates all the way across, over to Bedford, right back to Bates. Looks up, missed connecting on the pass to Grant Wheeler, and that's another icing against Grand Haven. 1-0 Buccaneers. 14:22 remaining in the first period. Not a lot of free-flowing action so far as we get another whistle. This 1 o'clock afternoon start on a Saturday. Nice turnout. Looks like we've got some Grand Haven fans in addition to a lot of Bird Dog supporters, friends and family. Tilley firing from the point. That's blocked in front. Loose in the slot. A twisting shot from Leonard's. Glances off of a Buccaneer and ends up off the glass. Tilley ranging toward the middle of the ice. Liam Tilley, the veteran D, spins it in deep. Couldn't get through to Walkus. Instead, it's picked up by Leonards. Tried to go back out to Tilley. Pinched in, but couldn't keep the puck alive. Ryers backtracks to cover up for his partner. Tilley flipped it into the screen. The brand new protective netting over the glass on this near side of the rink. Previous to this year, we didn't have any netting up, so the view was a little bit better in previous seasons, but obviously we understand why the folks at Patterson Ice Center decided to put up the screen on this side. It has been, on the west rink for several years. Cleared out in front by Grand Haven. Wiedenhoff a shot, and that was blocked in front. Wiedenhoff, the freshman defenseman. Wiedenhoff got a stick check in on Gino. Good to see him back out there looking good. Flying in behind the Grand Haven net. Nolan Gino scans his options. Fires! Save made by Grybar, and he holds on, no rebound. 13:29 to go in the first period. Gino, a tall, rangy forward who's able to use his speed to his advantage. He's got a lot going for him in terms of the tools of the game. Gino last year, 10 goals, 10 assists as just a sophomore. Floating shot by Landon Earl. Skids into the near corner, might have been deflected. Retrieved by Mark Braden, who has the early goal for Grand Haven. Kept in at the blue line by George Gostinek, newcomer for the Bird Dogs. He's a Forest Hills Eastern student. Players come together, and the puck bounces back to Bates. Bates is going to see a lot of playing time. We can tell that already. Slater pumps it on net from outside the blue line. Grybar held it and then handed it off. Up the far side, that'll be Lake Tuggle dishing it along. Change underway for Grand Haven. Chance for Forest Hills. A shot, and Grybar handled it outside of his crease as the wrister came in from Leonards. And Forest Hills Northern Eastern completes the line change after the whistle sounds. 12:44 to go in the opening period. Grand Haven on a power play goal, taking the early lead in their first game of the season. This is game 2 for the Bird Dogs. Joe Igo, another newcomer. He's a junior. Went down to a knee as he tried to center it. He was bumped off the biscuit. Bates serves it over far side for Bedford, now back into the middle. And the Bird Dogs' Paxton Miller, the freshman, stepped up to try to keep it in the offensive zone. Couldn't do it. Bang back into the Bird Dogs' end. Here's a lead pass. Paxton Miller 2-on-2. Tipped away from him by Bedford. Stepping up, Charles Vance looked to shoot in. That was rejected. And another penalty on the way. Someone's mouth guard is on the ice. Tripping is the call. That's Tyler Sparks of Grand Haven, who lost the bit of protective equipment. And it's another penalty against Forest Hills Northern and Eastern. Charles Vance goes to the box. 2 tripping calls against the Bird Dogs in the opening 5 minutes. And another power play chance for the Bucks. Graham Verker comes out of the pack with the puck and softly sends to center. The Bucks are 1 for 1 on the power play. Backpedaling are the Buccaneers. Good stick by Tyler Leonards, who's been a demon on the forecheck early. Good skater, Leonards, 14 in white. He forces Dane Bedford way back into his own end. Bedford trying to get around. Leonards poked it away. Short-handed chance. Leonards in, and it went off the shoulder of Grybar and off the glass. Great opportunity down the left wing side. Now Leonards has to try to get back into the play. Rushing it ahead, Julian O'Brien. Number 6 in blue pulls up at the half wall. Left it on back. Fanning on the shot was Ethan Burdo, and it's through to center. And a drive from out by the blue line. Hit the outside of the goal. Wes Smith let it go, and just barely missed in the end. Re-entry for Grand Haven. Carter Wells to the dot. Lost it there. A couple of Bird Dogs rally to the cause. Wrister by Bates. Blockered away by Smith to the far side boards. Tilley couldn't get it, but Verker will for Forest Hills. Couldn't clear. Bates keeps it alive at the point. 49 seconds to go on the power play. Down deep, Wells. Passed it over to Kyler Studer. Turns it back out to the left side. Wrist shot blocked on the way, and Gino lassos it for the Bird Dogs, and he clears, taking a hit in the process from Braden. All the way down it goes. Baum harassing his opposite number, Ryan Bates. Tyler Baum returning after a junior year in which he put up 3 points. He's one of the alternate captains for the Bird Dogs. Back behind the goal, final 20 seconds of the Grand Haven power play. Their second of the afternoon already. 10:17 to go in the first. Loose puck, no one knows where it is. Noonan finds it. Noonan dished it below the goal. Ryers hammering it off the end boards. Twisted off the puck was Will Slater. To the point, Bates shooting, redirected up into the screen, over the net. Power play's over. The Bird Dogs kill it off with 10:01 left in the first. So much better effort on the power play that time. The Bird Dogs kept the puck away from the scoring area for the most part. And actually, I'd argue they had the best chance of that sequence over the past 2 minutes, courtesy of Tyler Leonards on the shorthanded rush. Landon Earl saucers it through to center. Back in front of us. Hacking at it is Charles Vance. Couldn't get it loose. Gostanek unable to make a play, and the Buccaneers come back the other way. It's Starkin to the far side. A snapshot by Julian O'Brien, tipped by Smith, out of play. I mentioned both teams graduated quite a bit of offensive production from last year. As Sean Hall, 19 goals for Forest Hills last season. He's moved on. Logan Spikerman had 27 points. That was the third most on the squad. He graduated, and so did Ike DeHaan, among others. DeHaan had 12 points, plus all 3 goalies who saw action last year for Forest Hills Northern Eastern. They graduated too. That's why there's the freshman Wes Smith in net. Just 14 years old, facing off against varsity competition. Tilley goes around the boards. Breakout, look out. Great play by Leonards to avoid a potential hit as he slid it over the blue line, but now he's forced to pass it back out to center. Tilley shoots in from 70 feet. Johnny Grybar bodied it away. To the near boards, Caden Poulin. Ben Grybar takes over. For Grand Haven, he chips it right by Liam Tilley, in behind the goal. Under 9 to go in the first period. Just the power play goal for Grand Haven on the board early on. Grady Walkus, familiar name for Bird Dogs fans over the years. Walkus lays it on back to Tilley. Tilley up the near wall. Scoots right through Tyler Baum. Onto it, Gostanek in the corner. Baum trying to patrol and get that loose puck. Instead, the Buccaneers reverse it. Carson Poulin, far wing side. Held it in the zone by Thomas Herzog on the forecheck. Herzog throws a great check to knock down Paxton Wiedenhoft, but the Buccaneers escape. Lofted into the corner by Tyler Sparks of Grand Haven. All the way around the horn, Wiedenhoft thought about a shot. Makes a short pass. Ethan Burdo snapping it just wide on the bouncer. Far wing, driven toward the goal. Stick save by Smith as he redirects it away. Wiedenhoft shooting. That's blocked by Verker. Couldn't clear past Wiedenhoft at the point. And it's snapped away by the man who's wearing Ike DeHaan's old number 88. That's George Gostanek. Gostanek, right-handed shot, junior. And a penalty And this one might be against Grand Haven. It looks like it is. Penalty in the neutral zone. First power play upcoming for Forest Hills. Ethan Burdo to the box. Also a tripping call. 7:45 remaining in the period. One nothing Grand Haven. But the Bird Dogs get a kick at the can on the power play. Baum wins the faceoff on his forehand. Back to Tilley. Changes the angle. Snaps the shot. Stick save by Greibar. Deflects over into the corner and lofted out to center by Ryan Bates. Tilley commands it. I mentioned he had 15 assists last year to lead the Blue Line crew. And Tilley's out there along with Nolan Gino, who carries the mail through center. Gino, poke checked, but Baum following on. He lost the puck, and it's cleared quickly by Noah Noonan down the boards and out. Mark Braden has the first goal of the game. Grand Haven scored on the power play. Less than 2 minutes in. Tilley looking for a response. Great skating. Tilley swerving in, and he's stopped by Greibar, and no rebound at the side of the net. 1:12 left on the advantage. And Forest Hills makes a wholesale change. 5 men off, 5 men on. The newcomers to the ice, Grady Walkus, Gus Lagsden, Tyler Lennertz, Graham Verker, and Easton Ryers. Ryers and Verker playing the points. Just your traditional 3 forward, 2 defensemen setup. Walkus forced to take the draw after Lennertz was kicked out, held in at the point. Nice job by Ryers. Down the boards goes Walkus. He ties up his man Kyle Lucas to the corner, and Verker takes over. Dropped it on the exchange with Lennertz, but his pass to center. Ryers has to pull it out to center, in fact. Turned over. Good hit by Lennertz to go shoulder to shoulder with Ben Greibar. That frees up the puck far side, but a penalty is coming against Forest Hills, and Lennertz slaps it away with frustration. And with 42 seconds left on the power play, it's an early end for the power play. And Lennertz is the guilty man. Interference, the call against him. We'll skate 4-on-4 for the next 42 seconds. And then Grand Haven will get its third power play already. 6:27 to go in the frame. The Bird Dogs officially 0 for 1 on the advantage. A couple of decent looks. Pretty good possession, but not a lot in the house, shall we say, between the dots and in front of the net. The battle is on. A lot of open ice. Gino trying to kick it free, and he's hit from behind. Oh, that was very close to being a potential cross-check. Now players collide, and Gino hit the back of his helmet off the ice as he reaches for his stick. Looks like he's going to be able to stay out there. Still 4-on-4 amid all the chaos in the Bird Dog zone. Tilley run off by Carter Wells, wraparound try, and a good save on Noonan by Wes Smith as the power play set to begin for Grand Haven. Gino forced Braden to give it up. Kyle Lucas steps up, centered it, no one home for Grand Haven, and Landon Earl couldn't clear. 1:09 left on the advantage for Grand Haven. Into the slot, a shot, and Wells pumped it wide from the inner edge of the right circle. What an opportunity, and he went for the full slapper from about 10 feet away maybe. Ryan Bates cradling the puck. Takes a hard hit from Gino at the blue line, but he got it in deep. All the way around the near wall. Gino. Now Studer takes over. Far wing, Julian O'Brien pulls in the puck for Grand Haven. O'Brien to Burdo. Burdo shooting. Glove save by Smith, and no further play. 5:01 to go in the first. 35 seconds remaining on the interference minor to Tyler Lennertz of Forest Hills. So the mission, survive this sequence and get back on the attack if you are the Bird Dogs. Tom Bissett, by the way, just 2 wins away by my count from 200 as a varsity head coach His record of 198, 156, and 27 has him well above 500 for his career. Glove down by O'Brien on the deflected pass. To the point, Bedford, pass to O'Brien, and it's pried loose and swatted down the ice by Tyler Baum. 10 seconds left before we return to 5-on-5. Lucas sets up shop behind his net, gave it to the surging Ethan Burdo all the way in behind the net, looking for an option. Power play is over. Out of the box comes Leonards. It's 5-on-5. Trying to shoot Ben Greibar. Couldn't get it through. Julian O'Brien takes over for the Buccaneers. 4:13 to go in the period. High clear off the glass and out. Solid work by Will Slater, the junior D, who had 6 points last year. Players come together in front of the penalty box area. Slater aggressively to the red line to keep the puck on the positive side of the ice, if you will, and Slater now slings it off the boards all the way in on Johnny Greibar, the netminder for Grand Haven. He's yet to be beaten this afternoon. Noonan turned it off the skate of Thomas Herzog, who's putting the pressure on. Noonan again, couldn't get it by Grady Walkus, who held the line. Herzog, he's throwing his body around out there, forced the turnover again. Thomas Herzog, listed as a forward/defenseman, playing forward right now. Chino made Frank Reeser miss on his hit attempt behind the net. Great deke. But the Buccaneers keeping the Bird Dogs bottled in for now. Bird Dogs looking for the breakout pass. It's deflected away to the near corner as Walkus got a stick on it, but Carson Poulan tied him up. Poulan takes a pass in front of his own net, and Vance nearly intercepted it. Vance still trying to pick his pocket. Instead, it's relayed on to Mark Braden, and he turns it over inside the Bird Dogs line. Chino's turn to rush it. Down the left wing, took the shot. Greibar through traffic, handled it, and pinned it down. 2:39 left before the break. Again, my name is Matt Gajtka. Thank you for watching on my YouTube channel this afternoon as we debut Forest Hills Bird Dogs hockey on YouTube today. We'll have some select games coming up available, and you can always watch the games after the fact too. Live or archived, as I like to say. Liam Tilley backpedaling as he coughed that one up to Mark Braden. Braden simply shoots in, though, for Grand Haven. Far side boards pulled toward the middle by Kyler Studer. Couldn't make anything happen. And the Buccaneers regroup. Back at their own blue line. This is Lake Tuggle. Lake, an appropriate name for someone who lives in Grand Haven. Have to imagine that's part of the reasoning there. Gostanek getting in after it for Forest Hills. In the corner, he's working 1-on-3, and it comes loose to Baum. Deflected over to Liam Tilley. Tilley to Gostanek. Tried to one-touch it to Baum. Couldn't quite pull it off. Under 2 to go in the first period. Tilley can't flag down an airborne puck that was deflected, but Grand Haven goes for a change. So Slater has some time and space to surround it. For the Bird Dogs, he's run into, and it'll be a penalty. A penalty on the forecheck committed by Lake Tuggle. Another tripping call. We've had 5 penalties in the first period, 4 of them trips. And this will be the second power play for Forest Hills Northern Eastern. And Mr. Lake Tuggle assigned to the box with 1:41 to go in the period. Coaches always talk about the last couple minutes of a period. You want to lock it down if you've got a lead. You want to try to push for the tie if you're down, of course. Walkus tries to hack it toward the front. Walkus hacked it into the air, and it's scooped by Greibar, head high, actually over his head as he was down on his knees. Anyway, as I was saying, goals scored late in periods can have an outsized influence on a game, or at least it feels that way. I don't know if that's ever been proven. The teams that score late have a higher win percentage or anything like that, but you do always hear that around the sport. Here's a power play chance, wristed by Walkus right off the shoulder of Greibar. Good face-off win. Shooting it from the point was Will Slater. That missed everything. And another penalty is on the way, and this might be against Forest Hills Northern Eastern. Looked like the net was coming off behind Grybar as well, but that's not the reason for the stoppage, I don't think. Yes, Wakas goes to the box. Grady Wakas, the junior forward, gets called for roughing on the puck battle. Oh, excuse me, no, slashing. No, there's 2 penalties. Ryan Bates got called too for Grand Haven. So we'll stay with the Bird Dogs power play after all that. So I got roughing against Wakas, slashing against Ryan Bates for Grand Haven. And so it remains 5-on-4. We'll take that as Tilly hammers one off the pad of Grybar after another face-off win. Down comes Leonards with a shot, and as he cut to the middle, Grybar makes the save, and it's a busy time for Johnny Grybar, and one of the Bird Dogs tumbled on top of him as the whistle sounded. That's Baum. 1:09 remaining in the period, so we'll focus on that number as still 1:29 left on the power play, but it'll carry over if the Bird Dogs don't score on it before intermission. Vance scrambles the draw, but cleared by the Buccaneers. Kyle Lucas did the honors from the corner. Wes Smith, the netminder, stopped it behind his goal. Under a minute to play in the first period. You can see the scoreboard clock on your screen right now. Liam Tilley pulls in a cross-ring pass. Tilley drops it. Baum scans, feeds below the goal line. Area play, trying to give Vance a chance. Vance pops it free. 36 seconds to go in the period. Vance, side of the goal. He tried to roof it short side, and I think Grybar got a piece. Might have hit the outside of the post. Hard to tell from this angle. Nolan Gino scoots it on back to Tilley. Right back to Gino. The 2 veterans play catch. Tilley rips the shot. Oh my, the net is off its moorings. And that happens sometimes. That net down there especially, I feel like, comes off more than the other one. 21 seconds to go after the stoppage in play. Unfortunately for the Bird Dogs, they had full possession. They were passing it around the top. They looked like they had good rhythm, but they'll have to restart that and go to work quickly. Vance again, the assignment, the right-handed shot, drags it toward the wall, but it pops back into the face-off circle, and Noah Noonan sends it all the way down 200 feet. 14 seconds left. Still a power play for Forest Hills. The pass goes into Vance's skates. Vance, though, gets it back. Vance centering. Here's a chance, Baum, and he missed the goal on the attempted backhand chance. Time runs out in the first period. Might have been poke checked by Grybar, who shakes his head. Looked like Tyler Baum was about to stash it in the open goal, but it didn't fall for him. And so we go to the intermission with your score. 1-0 Grand Haven. Early power play goal in the period by Mark Braden. Okay, so take a breath with the Zamboni out here at the East Rink at Patterson and bring it on back for the second period. Still 19 seconds worth of carryover power play time for Forest Hills Northern and Eastern. Keep it right here for more. Second period on tap on this Saturday afternoon, as Badger Bob Johnson used to say. It's a great day for hockey. Any day is a great day for hockey, which I think was his point. Badger Bob, the former coach of the University of Wisconsin, hence Badger Bob, also of my Pittsburgh Penguins when they won their first Stanley Cup. Always loved that message. No better place to be than the rink. As Slater controls it off the draw, the Bird Dogs attacking the goal down to our right in the second period. Just 14 seconds to go on this, their second power play. Jammed around the wood, and Slater just barely unable to keep it in at the blue line. That's probably going to do it for the power play opportunity. Just 9 seconds to go, and the Bird Dogs have to start from center ice. Looking back at the replay of that last second chance for Tyler Baum, his backhand just skittered wide of the cage. Made a good move to get around the goalie, Johnny Grybar, for Grand Haven, but couldn't finish it off. Look out. On the far side, Gino nearly took a hard hit in front of the bench, but Kyler Studer forced to throw the shoulder at air as Gino saw it at the last second. Back behind the Grand Haven goal. The Bird Dogs trying to spend more time in the offensive end. Staying out of the box would help that too. They took 3 penalties in the first. Gino, a turning shot. That goes off the body, thrown in front, and the net came off. Oh my, Vance thought he scored the goal to tie the game, but the net was off its mooring. Now, if he had already taken the shot before the goal was pushed off, that should count, because he put it in between where the net would be. I mean, it went into the goal, literally did, even though it was off its right peg. Charles Vance might have been robbed of a goal there. You know, it's funny, we just saw that come up in the NHL last week when a member of the Minnesota Wild scored an overtime goal when the net was way off its pegs, or at least way off one of its pegs, but the scoring chance was continuing. Now, I'm not sure if there's a rule difference at the high school level for USA Hockey when it comes to that sort of thing. I feel like it's pretty universal, though, where if you're taking the shot, you're in the process of shooting, and the net gets pushed off, and it goes in where the net would have been, then it should count. But in this case, the 2 referees discussed it with Tom Bissett, the Forest Hills Northern Eastern coach, and apparently they told him that it's no goal. Don't know the reasoning, of course. Would be nice if we had referees mic'd up, but we do not. Dumped in by Tyler Baum. So the Bird Dogs go back to work. Rifled in on Grybar from the corner by Gino, who gets a little cross-check in on Kyle Lucas at the side of the net. Play continues on. Gino always feisty. I've seen him a couple of years here in West Michigan hockey. Turning shot on net. Fought off by Wes Smith with a shoulder save. And the Bird Dogs go back the other way. Gino draws the penalty against Kyle Lucas. On the trip, Nolan Gino, great speed. And Forest Hills back to the advantage with 15:22 left in the second period. That's how you draw calls. You keep trying to attack the good ice, if you will. Lucas to the box. And now that's 5 tripping penalties in this game out of the 6 total called. Well, excuse me, there's been 8 total called. 6 of them have led to power plays. This is the 3rd power play for Forest Hills Northern Eastern. And watch out, shorthanded chance, Mark Braden, who already has a goal in this game, and he has the turnover. Braden taking it away from Verker. Braden all the way in behind the goal. Bodied up there against both Verker and looks like Vance over as well, trying to help out, trying to pry that puck off the kick plate. And of course, Braden's okay to just kill some time. Now Tilley swoops in to take control of the puck. That was actually Tyler Leonards who was joining Verker behind the goal. Leonards carries it out, lugs it through center. Plenty of room down the right wing. Power play on for the Bird Dogs. Threw it in front at Leonards, and it comes off the skate of Walkison right to Grybar's glove, and he covers it up with 1:15 remaining on the power play. So now each team has had 3 advantages. Grand Haven scored on their first power play. That was Mark Braden, senior forward, on a goal mouth scramble. Wasn't a pretty one by any means, but on the 3rd chance, the Buccaneers put it in. Verker drops back to the point after Gino gave it to him. Bates gave it away to Gino. Gino, though, turned it over. Good step up by Carter Wells to clear it for Grand Haven as he took over on the near side boards. Slammed on the far side. Bates has it, rifles it all the way down to our left. Smith bump sets it for Verker. 50 seconds left on the power play. Vance takes the headman pass. Vance the pull-up move. Tried to chip it toward the front. That hit a body. Pushed by Wiedenhoff. Back out to the point. Verker changes the angle. Snaps the shot. Bates blocked it with a stick behind the goal. 30 seconds remaining on the power play. Verker sped it around the wall. It comes all the way around the horn and unable to be held in by Slater. Back with it come the Buccaneers shorthanded, but unable to pull it out of his skates, Carter Wells. Wells had to look down. By that time, it had already drifted away from him into the corner. So good break for the Bird Dogs. They don't give up the shorthanded shot, but got a little sloppy there. Now turned over to Noonan. Noonan overcome by Baum, who sends it up the boards, but Grybar hit him, and we're back to 5-on-5. Power play is over. Verker lost it to Reeser. Sharp angle shot. Easy save from Smith. Played it behind the net to the board. Starkin coming off the wall, and his snapper is gloved by Smith, and he hangs on with that big trapper. 13:07 to go in the second period. The Bird Dogs program won its 9th regional title 2 seasons ago in 2024. It's been a successful team in D2 and D1. They were the state runner-up in D2 in 2017. That's the farthest the program has gotten. Also went to the Final Four in 2018. Last year, though, just one and done in the playoffs. Trying to rectify that, build toward it again this year. High shot by Bedford. Put it to the goal on the rebound. The rebound went up into the air and dropped right at the side of the net, and Henry Starkin fires it in, his first varsity goal, and Grand Haven leads it 2-0. So Smith made the initial blocker's save, but it just awkwardly went straight up in the air right next to the net. You don't expect that as a goalie, for it to drop right next to you, but that's what happened. And with 12:40 to go in the second period, it's 2-0 Bucks. Vance on the chip and chase for Forest Hills, trying to swat it toward the front. Couldn't get it all the way through to Herzog. Bouncing puck in the slot. Herzog, who's been good in his second varsity game. Vance shooting from behind the goal. Vance centers on the backhand, but picked off by Ethan Burdo. Burdo chips ahead. Grant Wheeler drives it in deeper. Far corner, Caden Poulan sets up his man, and a one-timer by Burdo, grabbed by Smith. Great save atop his crease to keep it 2-0. Burdo was fired out of a mortar on that shift. He came soaring out of his end, and then he kept looking for the chance, and he's going to stay out there as the centerman for Grand Haven, getting the assignment against Tyler Lennertz of Forest Hills. Right toward the front, Smith has to get a stick out to poke it away from Caden Poulan. Burdo twisted it back off the corner boards and right in on Smith, and he decides to stop the music. 11:55 to go in the second period. Still just the one goal scored on the season for Forest Hills Northern Eastern, that by Nolan Gino yesterday against Forest Hills Central. Julian O'Brien goes straight ahead on the draw for Grand Haven. Mixing it up are the Buccaneers. Sparks back out to the point. Here's a look from Carter Wells, and he just pumped it wide from 40 feet away. Julian O'Brien gloved it to his stick. O'Brien, though, lost control of it, and Verker sends it all the way back into Grand Haven real estate. Tuggle up the boards with that pass. O'Brien couldn't get it past Walkus. O'Brien again lugs it to center. Takes a look back. Saucers it across. Wiedenhoff up ahead. Good feed to Sparks. Sparks, one more looking for O'Brien. Broken up. Broken up by Gus Lagsden. Great back-checking work there. Hockey's all about these little plays. You don't see those in the box score most times. Turned over, though. Carter Wells driving in, backhand, saved by Smith as Slater was trying to force him to the outside and did. Tuggle couldn't get the shot through from the side boards for the Buccaneers, and Lagsden took a hard hit to clear that puck. Ends up being an icing as he pulls himself back up onto his skates and saunters back over to the bench for a line change. Just past 2 o'clock on this Saturday, November the 8th. Early start to hockey season for both these teams. Coming up later, we'll see East Grand Rapids will be playing an exhibition game against Granville. And the Bird Dogs played an exhibition earlier this week against Hudsonville. Wrister blocked in front, right to the side of the goal, and just missing on the chance, Kyler Studer. Braden had a opportunity in the middle. Braden wearing the captain's C, one of, I think, 3 Buccaneers who have the C stitched on their road blue jersey. Hammered out of the zone by Charles Vance. Or pardon me, that's Landon Earl. Earl, first-year varsity defenseman for the Bird Dogs. Ryers got a stick on that clear, so it's not going to be icing. Braden chases in after it, does a pirouette in the corner, looking to start the cycle. Noonan follows on, good pass across. Bedford closes, rips the shot, deflected, blocked by Earl. Hammered wide of the goal by Ryan Bates. Ends up on the near boards and unable to keep it in, Dane Bedford. Backtracking Noah Noonan. Speeds it across on his backhand side. Bates turns away with strong skating. Gets by Charles Vance, but couldn't clear. Gino from the perimeter. Looked into the middle. He's got bombed right in front of the net. Gino all the way around the goal, wristing a shot. That's off the skate of Bedford. And to the far boards, and out it goes on a bouncing puck. Controlled by Earl. Wanted to go to Gino. He ran right through Noah Noonan, sending him flying. Pretty physical game this afternoon as well. Still 2-0 Bucks, though. Home team looking for the breakthrough offensively. 2 Bucks run into each other at center ice. Grybar then lost it to Vance. Vance couldn't make any headways. Caden Poulan chasing for Grand Haven. Lays the hit on Paxton Miller. Knocked it away to the side boards. And a fine pickpocket move from Nolan Gino as he sends it skyward. Too far away from Vance. Tilley bottles it up on the near boards. Clipped it ahead about halfway through the second period. 8:35 to go in it. Great move to the outside. Smith makes the save. Oh, it bounces around again. Carson Poulan had the initial chance and almost a carbon copy of the second Grand Haven goal, and a whistle for a hand pass against the Buccaneers. That sends the ensuing face-off all the way back into the offensive zone for Forest Hills Northern and Eastern. So a couple times these high shots have gone off the blocker of Wes Smith and straight up, almost defying physics, but it happens sometimes. Just makes it really difficult because in hockey you're not used to looking up in the air so much. If it goes above the level of the crossbar, you can lose sight of it pretty easily. On the retrieval, Graham Verker. Verker's pass across, and the Bird Dogs do get by the aggressive Grand Haven forecheck. They had 3 in the offensive zone, nearly forcing a turnover. Sparks, though, leads the rush back in for the Bucks. Wells couldn't drag it with him. Now he has it, but he gave it away in front of the net to Will Slater. Slater's headman pass away from Lagsden, but this will not be icing. Will not go far enough. Lake Tuggle takes it back. Lagsden ran him off to the point. Verker shooting, and a shoulder save by Johnny Grybar, and he hangs onto the rebound as it was airborne right in front of his face. 7:43 remaining in the period. Grybar looking over to his teammates as we get set for the face-off in the offensive zone. Baum bumped it back to the point. Bouncing biscuit again. Ryers, 4 Bird Dogs in the area, trying to stick a fork in it. They can't do it. And the Bucks clear out to center. Long stretch of even strength play over the past, I'll say 6-7 minutes or so. Sped toward the net by Henry Starkin, who just scored the second Grand Haven goal earlier in the period at even strength. Cleared by the Bird Dogs. Knocked away from the front of his net by Johnny Grybar. Backhand feed from Ben Grybar, but coughed it up to Landon Earl at the blue line. Earl tries to get the forecheck going on the shoot-in. Now from the point, wristed by Easton Ryers, right off the stick of Grybar. Back to Ryers one more time. And he force-fed it behind the Grand Haven goal. Gostanek run over by Wiedenhoft, who's a physical defender. We've seen that so far. But the Buccaneers ice it. They'll be able to make a line change, but they'll have to contend with the defensive zone face-off coming up. Bird Dogs trying to take advantage of the territorial edge here. They get fresh bodies on the ice too. Of course, the second period is the period in which it's toughest to get new players on the ice. Face-off, Juan Lagsden shot, rejected in front, trying to force it toward the goal, Grady Walkus, but it bounced wide. That was quite the tie-up in front. Nearly a turnover by Bedford, but he found a way on second effort to shove it over to Ryan Bates. In over the blue line, the Buccaneers are onside. Noah Noonan shoveled it in deep. Lagsden couldn't control, bouncing puck toward the front, sticked away by Smith on the chance from Bedford. Well, half chance really, all the way out by the blue line. Walkus settles a bouncing puck. Lagsden one-on-one against Noonan. Lagsden, good turn. Gave it over to Walkus. Walkus shot it in, under 6 to go in the second period. Just one goal in each of the first two periods for Grand Haven. That's been it in terms of the tangible offense. Lagsden, wrister, hit a skate, came behind. Leonards, the shifty one, played it out to the point, handcuffed Paxton Miller, and so Tilley's got to carry it back into his own end to buy some time. Gino won the stick battle, and his reward, an opportunity to wind it up from his own zone. Serpentine pattern, lost it in his skates, kicked it back up to his stick, does Nolan Gino. 5:14 remaining in the second period. Tilley on his backhand, tough play, couldn't keep it in the zone. He sends it back ahead though. That's where Bedford takes over. Bedford long lead delivery right into the Grand Haven bench area, and it bounces away. None of the Buccaneers touched it for fear of too many men on the ice, so that'll be an icing call again. Tyler Baum gets the face-off assignment against Ben Grybar. Baum wins it straight back. Gino rips it on goal. Stick save by the other Grybar, Johnny Grybar. Verker out by the point. Baum helps out, covering up as Verker paraded down the wall. Gino forces the quick giveaway by Braden, or excuse me, that's Carson Poulan, but he shot it right into the screen. So not a giveaway in the end, just a defensive zone face-off upcoming for Grand Haven to try to fend off. 4:43 remaining in the period. Joe Igo's out there with Gus Lagsden, Lagsdin, and there is Gus. Oh, he coughed it up. Just inside the blue line, turning chance, and a great diving play by Lagsden to make up for his error. Caden Poulan turned it right on goal, or tried to, but it was blocked off on the stick check. Caden Poulan. There's Caden and Carson Poulan, both on Grand Haven. Caden's the forward, Carson's the D-man. And on cue, there is Carson. Trying to maneuver out of his own end. Ended up turning it over to Verker at the Bird Dogs blue line. Poulan, pressured by Joe Igo, first-year varsity player. And again, the Bird Dogs force an icing. So they're starting to pile up. Got to figure at some point it's going to pay off for Forest Hills to get an offensive chance from all these face-offs adjacent to the Grand Haven goal. Hasn't happened yet, though. 3:49 remaining in the frame. Baum ties up with Tyler Sparks. And the two sides fight for the puck below the goal line. Gino wins it. Good feed. Out high. Ryers pulled the trigger. Blocked in front, though, and Ethan Burdo skates it out of trouble for Grand Haven. 2-on-2 rush. Burdo wristing might have been deflected, and it went soaring over the high glass behind the net. Line change for Grand Haven, again coached by first-year bench boss Dustin Langlois, who formerly headed up the Reiths Puffer Rockets program. So he stays on the lakeshore, stays in high school hockey, but changes colors from green to blue. Snapshot from Wiedenhoff, hit a body. He's got to go back for it in neutral ice. Tuggle sent it off the boards on his backhand side. Clipped ahead by Henry Starkin. Starkin, one of the goal getters for Grand Haven. Starkin by the blue line, poked away from him. Gino can't quite get there. Lake Tuggle on the spot to make the defensive play. Tuggle back over to it. Starkin all the way across with that pass. Into the attacking zone, Reeser, dispossessed. Reeser tried to swat at an airborne puck, baseball style, couldn't make the play. Reeser, though, rips it away from Landon Earl on a bump right outside the blue line. Lake Tuggle sends it around the horn, and this is Gino. Does a lot of defensive work, does Nolan Gino, helping out his D-men. Gino, though, ran into trouble. O'Brien forced him to give it up. Baum over to Gino on the overlap. 2:16 to go. Lost control of the puck on the attempted toe drag. Backhand. Grybar made the save on Charles Vance, alternate captain. Vance, the Forest Hills Northern student. Last year, 6 assists, no goals for Vance, so he's trying to break that goose egg. Baum takes a bump. He forced it ahead. Wells goes cross rink, turned over. Baum to the middle and Walkus. 3-man rush for Forest Hills, but they can't make it connect. Ryan Bates gets it back, lost control in the slot. Walkus right down the alley, and he's denied on a low shot. Grybar kept the stick between his legs to make the save. To the point, Paxton Miller, snapshot, glove save, Grybar, and he holds on with 1:28 left in the frame. Well, good solid effort in the offensive zone, just in terms of fighting for loose pucks. Not a lot of grade A chances, though, for the Bird Dogs. They're looking for more quantity and quality at this point. To the point, Miller nearly fumbled it as he was harassed by Braden. Back behind the goal, Lennartz goes to work, reverses the flow of play. Lagsden with 1:10 remaining in the period. Tilley getting engaged from the defensive side of things, but he was upended on a clean check from Ryan Bates as he gave up the puck. Tilley gets back, though. Effortless skating backward from Liam Tilley. Angles it, far boards. No icing. Arms are in the air, though. It'll be a penalty. And it's going to go against Grand Haven with 50 seconds remaining in the second period. First penalty in a while. We had plenty of special teams work in the first period, plus a couple of minutes here in the second period. And Grand Haven's Dane Bedford is going to the penalty box for 2 minutes. Didn't catch what the call is, so we'll wait for the PA announcement. Fourth power play for Forest Hills. Gino dives down to poke it to Tilley. Interference the call. Doesn't matter what it is. All we need to know is that it is a 5-on-4 advantage for the team trailing by 2. Gino tried to spray some snow and make a stop, and he fell down. Tilley run into by Mark Braden. They tie up in the corner. Tilley drops his stick as if to say, I'm innocent, puts his hands in the air, and it was convincing enough. 20 seconds remaining in the period, though, and again, Braden trying to kill time. 3 Bird Dogs in there, attempting to fish the puck out. Still 13 seconds left, and finally, Braden does earn the whistle by freezing the puck against the kick plate. 11.5 seconds left before break. And Gino kicked at the boards. He was perturbed that he couldn't help win the puck. And there are 6 skaters on the ice right now. Nolan Gino is going to have to go to the bench as he was replaced by Gus Lagston. Puck dropped. Tilley emerges with it, but only 8 seconds to go. Tilley speeds it ahead. Vance in over the blue line. Stripped of the puck by Kyle Lucas. He clears the center. Slater stopped it at the red line, but time runs out on the Bird Dogs there. 1:10 to go on the power play. So Forest Hills will have that to think about as they go to the dressing room and we resurface the ice on the East Rink. 2-0 Grand Haven after 34 minutes of play. Still 17 regulation minutes left. Keep it right here on YouTube as Bird Dogs hockey rolls on. Second game of the 2025-26 season. Bird Dogs back on the ice, looking for a comeback in the third period this afternoon at Patterson. I'm Matt Gajtka. Thank you for joining us for this special presentation of Forest Hills Northern and Eastern Hockey. The co-op program rolling on into another season, 2025-26. Lost last night 3-1 to Forest Hills Central, their rink rival here. And going out of division for this game against Grand Haven. But Grand Haven's got a 2-0 lead. But the Bird Dogs start the third like they started the second on the power play. An opportunity to break through against goaltender Johnny Grybar and company. So here we go. Forest Hills Northern and Eastern in the white home jerseys. Grand Haven in the blue, and clipped along the boards and out by Grand Haven's Carson Poulan, the defenseman. 50 seconds left on the advantage. This is the fourth power play of the day for the Bird Dogs. They're 0 for their first 3. Still a chance, and the ice a little wet yet. Gino left the puck behind in a puddle. Now he's got a stick handle through a couple of Buccaneers, and he does. Gets right by Mark Braden. Around a third, Gino put it off the glass. Great chance. Beat 3 players one-on-one and rifled it just high and wide of the net and cleared by Grand Haven. Tilly gets behind the puck, but lost control. Birdo drives it back into Bird Dog territory, turned over, a chance on Smith, and he makes the save on Carter Wells, who picked it off for a shorthanded opportunity. And that puck is somewhere stuck in the leg pad of Wes Smith. The freshman goalie comes up huge. Just a minute and 10 seconds into the third to keep it 2-0. Big moment. Big shot from Bates. Loose puck in front, and it scoots just wide of the net. Follow-up chance, and again it was Wells. And we're back to 5-on-5. Forest Hills officially 0 for 4 on the power play. Grady Walkus chips it to himself, though. Tried to center it, and that's pulled away from the front of the net by Poulan. His clearing pass deflected, so no icing. Verker first on it for the boys in white and black. He powered it by Wells. Baum trying to muscle it out of the zone. So's Verker, and it does scoot to center. Vance, the handoff to Baum. Baum had a great chance late in the first period to try to get on the board. Vance pounced on the turnover, but his centering pass ends up out by the blue line. Paxton Miller, side of the net, and what's the call here? We've got the goal off its peg once again. Well, the Bird Dogs buzzing a bit. On that shift, they'll have to restart after the whistle. Just under 15 minutes to go in regulation. Scramble for it, Gino, and he played it to the side of the goal. That's where Grybar melts it down, yanking it away from Tyler Lennertz. Lennertz has made his presence known at the center position. Lagsden and Gino on his wings for this shift. And you see behind the goal some East Grand Rapids players warming up. Lagsden picked it off. Blocker save by Johnny Grybar. It's a busy rink today, but Lagsden with a chance to make it 2-1, and Grybar made his best save of the day. East Grand Rapids is up next against Granville in an exhibition game. Won't count in the standings. This one does, though, for both these teams. Grand Haven aiming to start with a victory, and Forest Hills trying to avoid back-to-back losses. Gino put it in the skates of Lucas to the front of the net. Gino tumbled down, and again he's reaching for his helmet. Tilly pinches in. Liam Tilly activates from his defense spot. Laid it back. Slater shooting. Pad save. Grybar. And cleared by the Buccaneers. Grant Wheeler. Walkus. Forest Hills turning up the temperature. Walkus carries it over the line, but his drop pass for Baum is disrupted by Ben Grybar. Tilly corrals the rolling puck. Walkus takes the breakout pass. Couldn't force it ahead. Vance has it again. Pops it over on far wing, but No one there. However, Reeser inadvertently lifts it into his own bench. And that stops play. 13:25 left in the third. Well, I mentioned who graduated for Forest Hills Northern in terms of their leading scorers, guys like Sean Hall and Logan Spikerman. C.J. Henke also moved on the Grand Haven side. He had 40 points, including a team-best 17 goals. So that's a lot to make up for. Also, Keaton Pohl, Ben Wilkie, and Avery Anderson all had 20-plus points on the year for last year's Grand Haven squad. So, again, that's all part of high school sports, right? You got to try to figure it out with the new collection of players. Some old, some new. Ryan Bates protects the puck. Could not shove it up the wall. Bates has it again, though. Turned it over. Vance. Oh, he spun it right to the front of the net. And Johnny Grybar hangs on. He was trying to maybe connect on to Joe Igo, who had set up shop right at the top of the blue paint, but it didn't land on his blade, unfortunately. 12:48 remaining. Leonard's on the face-off against Noonan. And getting the first touch after the draw, Mark Braden. However, the Buccaneers guilty of icing. Braden scored in the first period, just 2 minutes in, a power play goal. But Forest Hills Northern and Eastern hasn't taken a penalty since the first, when they committed 3. And another icing play by Braden, who throws his hands up to the sky. Can't believe he did that. He taps his helmet with his stick, playfully, telling his teammates, that's my bad. Another face-off. And this time, Noonan and the Buccaneers win it cleanly. And Wiedenhoft tries to drive it up the near side. That's blocked down. Bird Dogs on it. Leonard's wristing, missed the goal. To the left. Off the end wall. Verker couldn't get it through Braden, who flushed it out with his body. Here's Will Slater, turning this way and that. Slater couldn't get it out of the zone. Back for it, Verker, up to Gino. He stopped the puck on the wall, trying to control it. Wiedenhoft clears it across. Kyler Studer backhand right through the top of the crease. No one home for the Buccaneers. Studer again. Stripped by Verker, but the puck still goes right to the front. Loose. Smith a save, and the rebound scoots wide. And Noonan had the first chance, and he got it on goal. Scaled off the glass and out by Leonards. This will not be icing. It settles short of the goal line. Tuggle with Gino forechecking. Gino got the stick up under the hands of one of the Buccaneers. Then Gino goes down hard, and the Buccaneers bench loves that. Gino always stirring it up. Shoved in deep by Braden. Line change for the Buccaneers. Still a 2-0 lead for Grand Haven on the road. Walkus let it drift off his stick right to Charles Vance. Popped it in below the goal line. Baum steals, gave it to Vance. High shot, good save by Grybar. That's probably his best of the game. The Buccaneers kind of burrowing in for a moment there as the Bird Dogs again generated a quality scoring chance, but they cannot beat Johnny Grybar yet. Keyword yet, still plenty of time. 10.5 minutes left. Hopping on it, Landon Earl. Earl looks up the middle, and this breakout pass eludes everybody, icing the call against Forest Hills Northern and Eastern. Upcoming games for the Bird Dogs. Let's take a look at that schedule. We've got De La Salle on the road at the Big Boy Arena. I believe that's in Fraser. That's next Friday, 7 o'clock. We will not have coverage of that one, unfortunately, but all the best against the Pilots. Always a tough squad. One of just a couple of teams to beat Detroit Catholic Central last year. Of course, that's last year. This is this year. And then Lake Orion comes into Patterson next week, next Saturday. Same week that the Dragons paid a visit to Patterson last year, too. Stopping behind his net, Bedford reverses the flow of play, but he gave it away. Liam Tilley scoots it on goal. Bouncing puck. Grybar, side of his net. Tapped it along to a teammate that was Bedford, but his attempted lead pass does not connect. And we've got another icing against the Buccaneers. 9:31 left in the third. Reached the stage of the game where it starts to get situational. Might see a team with a lead be a little cautious. See if the Bird Dogs can take advantage of that. We've already seen 3 icings in this period, for instance, against the Buccaneers. Vance steps up on a loose puck. Couldn't pull the trigger. Still free in the circle. Poulin has command. Leads it ahead to Birdo, who's been a dangerous forward in this game. Birdo, pass toward the middle, redirected inadvertently on target. Wes Smith swats it away. Bedford, lefty shooting defenseman, had it go off a skate all the way across to the near wing. Good pass, shot, score! Oh my goodness. What a wrister from Ethan Birdo as he buries it up under the bar. Perfect shot. The pass came all the way across to him from Caden Poulin, and it's 3-0 Buccaneers with 8:59 remaining in regulation time. Massive goal, obviously, in this game. And sometimes you just got to tip your cap to the shooter. That time, Birdo didn't have much space, but he found that space. From his strong side, right-handed shot from right along the goal line. You know, Wes Smith is unhappy with that, but like I said, sometimes the sniper just hits his target, and that was the case there. So Birdo, his first varsity goal. 2 Buccaneers have their first varsity goals this afternoon. He and Henry Starkett. Boy, I like Ethan Birdo's game. Like I said, he has been creating all afternoon. And it's a 3-0 game in favor of Grand Haven. Even strength goal, 5-on-5. Jammed wide of the net by Landon Earl, all the way back in Grand Haven territory. No icing there. Ruled to have been deflected. Coughed up by the Buccaneers. But a centering pass by Leonards hit a skate that caromed off of Bedford. The Bucks go back to work, lofted beyond the reach of Julian O'Brien. 8 minutes to play, well, 8 minutes and 15 seconds to be exact, in the third. Ryan Bates way down the boards in the corner as the Buccaneers change behind the play. Gino extracts it. He has Lagsden behind him, fires it high right off the throat protector of Johnny Grybar, and well, one of the Buccaneers had something to say to Gino. I mean, he's just trying to score a goal. I don't know what the problem is. Penn Grybar, could be just a family thing, chirping at Gino after the shot came up right under the gobbler, if you will, the little plastic neck protector that hangs off the bottom of most goalies' masks, or I shouldn't say most. A lot of goalies have those to give them a little extra feeling of protection. And it is a lot about the feeling, right? You want to be fearless out there as a goalie. Don't want to be thinking about a shot catching you under the chin, on the throat, collarbone area. Bates in some trouble after the face-off win by the Bucks, but he got rid of it over to his D partner Bedford, right back into Bates' corner. Skids by him. Birdo, the most recent goal getter, gave it to Bedford, up the wall. Bird Dogs choke it off. Tilley's shot redirected wide, and I think Joe Igo got a piece of that. But regathered by the Bucks, Ryan Bates. Bates, just a massive frame on him. It's hard to get the puck away, but he lost it there. Tilley wraparound, and he couldn't get it on frame. Lofted out of the zone by Carter Wells. 7:11 left in the third. Score remains 3-0. Tilley tried to get the forward check going with the dump in. Instead, Grybar gloved at the side of his net and relayed up the far boards to Ethan Birdo on the move. Birdo down to a knee. He lost control of the puck. There was a stick check there from behind, I think by Igo, that pried it free. Wells drifting through center on his off-wing side. Carter Wells, the pull-up move against Slater. Fresh legs on the ice for Grand Haven. Joining the fray, Noah Noonan. To the point, a low shot, driven in by Lake Tuggle, handled easily by Wes Smith with 6.5 minutes exactly to go in game number 2 of the season for Forest Hills Northern and Eastern. Continuing to look at the upcoming schedule, Rochester United is in here on Saturday, November the 22nd. And then Thanksgiving week, it's the Bird Dogs against East Grand Rapids. That's the night before Thanksgiving. And the Saturday after Thanksgiving, Catholic Central comes in. Right to the goal, and Wes Smith scoops that up. 6:10 to play. So that wraps up the month of November. The Bird Dogs play 7 games in November. And just 4 in December. Figure that one out. As they'll take that winter break after the 20th of December and not come back until the new year. Great check behind the goal, Slater wiping out Kyler Studer. Bird Dogs poke it to center. George Gostinek got his stick tied up, couldn't get it loose, and so the Bird Dogs regroup in their own end. Verker putting some air under that one. Gostinek trying to get on the end of it, unable to do so. Carson Poulan circles the wagons, coughed it up in the middle. Oh, Gostinek, good pass in front. Here's Baum. He scores! Tyler Baum rips it under the bar, and it's 3-1. Bird Dogs have a goal with 5:21 to go in regulation. Tyler Baum shoots to thrill. The goal horn goes off, and a little bit of life with a few minutes to go. George Gostinek on the assist, his first varsity point as well. Congrats to him. Baum makes up for his earlier miss back at the end of the first period, and I mean the very end of the first period, when he had a backhand chance on the deke and just missed stuffing it in. And so for the first time, Johnny Grybar is beaten on the season. Tyler Baum last year, just the 1 goal, so he's already matched that total in game number 2. Love when you can do that. Hoping to step up into a bigger role as a senior. Smith freezes it. All right, so the game's not over. 3-1, 5 minutes to play, 5:03 to be exact. And as they say, goals change games, and it's true. Emotions can change. Look out, scramble though. Back to the point, Wiedenhoft overskated. Now he tries to snap it, and that's rejected out high by a couple of Bird Dogs. Wheeler clipped it behind the goal. Caden Poulan got his glove up onto the shoulder of Landon Earl. Play allowed to continue on. No penalties in this third period. We did have the carryover power play for Forest Hills, but that was it at the very start of the frame. Grybar down the far boards, his backhand ends up off the end wall. Smith tees it up. Gino takes the lead delivery from Easton Ryers. Gino backhand. Oh, he couldn't get much on it. Might have been deflected. And then Gino goes crashing into the wall, and he's got some words for the referee back there as the puck's frozen by the goaltender Grybar. 4:14 left. And Gino being escorted away from the lines person by Tyler Baum. So this is the same score as what we saw last night. Forest Hills coming out on the short end of a 3-1 final against Forest Hills Central. Going ahead on the draw, Vance in front. Vance can't quite get to that return feed from Baum, but the Buccaneers appear to have iced the puck. No, it won't get to the goal line. And good hustle by Sparks, tried to center, but as he came out to the side of the goal, Tilley hip checked him. Pull-up move by Berto, already has a goal in this frame. Up the boards, Vance got a stick in there to clear. But the Buccaneers regain control, and they send it right back in, forcing the Bird Dogs to come 200 feet. Tilly lead pass, good feed. Off the stick of Vance into the near corner. He and Bates go shoulder to shoulder. Loose puck, Wakas on it. Wakas twisting and turning, centering, and a shot attempt by Gostinek was blocked. Gostinek has had a strong third. An assist and nearly a prime scoring chance there, but it didn't get all the way through. 3:13 left in regulation. Slater headmans it. Here's Gostinek, 88 in white. Poke check by Bates. Into the corner it goes. Wakas on the puck. Tried to back in front. Gostinek came out from behind, and his shot was redirected out of play over the glass. Still 3-1. 3:01 remaining. One goal in each of the 3 periods for Grand Haven. They've distributed their offense evenly. Have the Buccaneers. Lagston, oh, he pulled the trigger on the face-off win by Leonards, and Lagston didn't waste any time, but as you saw there, Grybar got in front of it and did not give up a rebound, just as importantly. Again, Lagston, and poked by Slater at the point. Here comes Frank Reeser, wrist shot, blocked by Graham Verker. Outstanding work by the senior D-man. Lagston over on the far wing, skating it in, Leonards, and he's taken down. Play allowed to continue. Lagston lifted it off the glass. Was practically thrown down to the ice by Reeser. Gino back on the ice for the Bird Dogs. And his attempted pass ended up carrying into the far corner. Starkin clears. Will it be enough for icing? It will this time, as Verker skated back just slowly enough to make sure it got all the way down. .2:14 remaining. Neither team has used the timeout yet. Each team gets one. Per USA hockey rules. Wiedenhoft bumped it ahead, and the Bucks are away. Braden makes sure he gets to the red line. No, he did not get to the red line. Excuse me, I thought he did. It is another icing. Several icing calls against Grand Haven in the third. It's keeping hopes flickering for a big-time comeback for the Bird Dogs. The face-off coming up on the right side, and timeout called by Forest Hills Northern and Eastern. Coach Tom Bissett ready to talk it over with his boys. 2:06 remaining in this one. Grand Haven led it 3-0. They built that 3-0 lead on goals by Mark Braden, Henry Starkin, and Ethan Burdo. For Starkin and Burdo, their first varsity goals. Forest Hills Northern got one back. Tyler Baum, after a sweet little slip pass from George Gostinek, sent him in all alone for a baby breakaway. And he gunned the forehand shot over the glove of Johnny Grybar from point-blank range. That was with 5:21 to go. Now here we are about 3 minutes later. Score remains 3-1. Thanks to Brad Verker for manning the camera this afternoon, and to everyone involved with the Bird Dogs program for getting this game on the air. Like I said, excited to put more hockey out there streaming live. And like I said, you can watch the full replay afterwards as well. Grand Haven a couple of minutes away from what they hope will be their first win of the season, and the net for Forest Hills Northern and Eastern is empty. Wes Smith, the freshman tender, on the bench in a 6-on-5 situation, but poked out the center, flushed out by Braden. Good work by Grand Haven to get on that scramble draw. Empty net way down to our right, and a friendly bounce for the Buccaneers allows Wiedenhoff to clear. Off the boards, might have hit a skate or a stick, and it hot by Liam Tilley. Gino, the puck drifted away from him. Studer backhanded it beyond the red line. 1:38 remaining. Gino rips it across, does not connect, and cleared, but not all the way down. Excuse me, that's Graham Verker handing Tyler Leonards. Diagonal pass, Lagsden allows it to deflect off his stick. He chases in after it. Puck out to the blue line. Gino cradles, rips the shot. Just went high, might have been deflected. 1:12 left. Verker kept it alive. Leonard shooting, save made by Grybar, still free, and Grybar corrals the puck at the side of his goal. Good chances there, both from Gino, and then Verker sent it into the mix off the pad of Grybar, who I think saw it at the last second. If not, he just went down into the butterfly and hoped that it would hit him. Sometimes you just got to get big as a goalie and pray, and in that case, it worked out for Grybar. Gino got a deflection on that. Tilly, did he keep it in? Yes, he did. It's onside. Gino clipped it across, looking for Leonard's in the middle, but he couldn't get the shot on frame. Back out to Verker, wristing it, blocked out high. Grant Wheeler passed it across. Wells for the empty net, and Grand Haven seals it. Carter Wells scores from just inside the blue line with 42 seconds left, and it's 4-1. Carter Wells, who scored 9 goals last year, gets his first of the new season. Even strength empty netter for the Bucks, and they're going to skate out of here with the victory, it looks like. Back in the goal goes Wes Smith. Well, the Bird Dogs gave it a strong push in the final minutes of the third, but they can't get any closer than 2. Scooted toward the front by the Buccaneers. Bates could not keep it going. Slater all the way down to an open wing, and that's icing. Untouched by a couple of Bird Dogs over there, Gostenek and Joe Igo. 23 seconds to play. So Forest Hills will go into week 2, still looking for victory number 1. Like I mentioned, De La Salle, tough assignment this upcoming Friday at the Big Boy Arena on the east side of the state, and then back home to welcome Lake Orion at 3 o'clock next Saturday. That's the next home game. Snapshot from Bates, saves Smith, and he hangs on. 17 seconds to go. So still for Wes Smith, gives up 3 goals in each of his first 2 varsity starts. I think that he's got his skates under him, though, at this level. So all 3 goalies from last year graduated for Forest Hills Northern and Eastern. One last rush, Joe Igo lost control of the puck. Caden Poulan will end the game with the puck on his stick, and the Buccaneers prevail 4-1 this afternoon at Patterson Ice Center. They're 1-0. Forest Hills Northern and Eastern drops to 0-2, but like I said, right back at it next week with a 2-game weekend at De La Salle and here at home against Lake Orion. Thank you for watching, and we appreciate your time on this Saturday afternoon or whenever you accessed the show. Talk to you next time for more Bird Dogs hockey right here on YouTube.